In a hole in the ground there lived a hobbit. Not a dirty, wet hole, nor a dry, bare, sandy hole. It was a hobbit hole, and that means comfort. His name was Baggins. The Bagginses had lived in the neighborhood of the hill from time out of mind, and people considered them very respectable because they never had any adventures or did anything unexpected. This is a story of how a Baggins had an adventure. Hobbits are, or were, a little people, and smaller than the bearded dwarves. The mother of this hobbit, Bilbo Baggins, that is, was the famous Belladonna Took. It is probable that Bilbo, her only son, inherited something a bit queer in his makeup from the Took side, something that only waited for a chance to come out. That chance never arrived until Bilbo Baggins was grown up and was standing at his door after breakfast one day, smoking an enormous, long wooden pipe, when Gandalf came by. Gandalf. Tales and adventures spouted up all over the place wherever he went. He was, you see, a wizard. "Good morning," said Bilbo. Gandalf looked at him. "What do you mean? Do you wish me a good morning? Or mean that it is a good morning whether I want it or not? Or that you feel good this morning? Or that it is a morning to be good on?" "All of them at once," said Bilbo, blowing a beautiful grey ring of smoke that sailed up into the air and floated away over the hill. "Very pretty," said Gandalf, "but I have no time to blow smoke rings. I am looking for someone to share in an adventure, and it's very difficult to find anyone." "I should think so, in these parts. We're plain quiet folk and have no use for adventures, nasty, disturbing things. We don't want any adventures here, thank you. You might try over the hill or across the water." "Let me see, I don't think I know your name." Gandalf's eyes sparkled. "But I know your name, Mr. Bilbo Baggins, and you do know my name, though you don't remember. I am Gandalf, and Gandalf means me." "Gandalf. Gandalf? Good gracious me! Not the wandering wizard who used to tell such wonderful tales at parties about dragons and goblins and giants. Not the man who used to make such particularly excellent fireworks. I beg your pardon." "Who else should I be? But being here, I will give you what you asked for." "I beg your pardon. I haven't asked for anything." "Yes, you have. Twice now. My pardon. I give it to you. In fact, I will go so far as to send you on this adventure. Very amusing for me, very good for you, and profitable too, if you ever get over it." "I don't want any adventures, thank you. But please come to tea any time you like. Why not tomorrow? Goodbye." With that, the hobbit turned and scuttled inside his round green door and shut it as quickly as he dared, not to seem rude. Wizards, after all, are wizards. Gandalf stood outside the door, laughing quietly. Then, with the spike on his staff, he scratched a queer sign on the hobbit's beautiful green front door. Then he strode away. Next day, just before tea time, came a tremendous ring on Bilbo's front doorbell. "Good heavens, Gandalf!" But it wasn't Gandalf at all. It was a dwarf with a blue beard tucked into a golden belt and very bright eyes under his dark green hood. He pushed inside, just as if he had been expected. "Dwelling at your service," he said with a low bow. "Bilbo Baggins at yours," said Bilbo, very surprised. "Would you take some tea?" They had not been at table long when there came an even louder ring at the bell. "Excuse me," said the hobbit. "So you have got here at last." But it wasn't Gandalf, but a very old-looking dwarf on the step with a white beard and a scarlet hood. "Balin, at your service." Come in. have some tea. A little beer would suit me better, all the same, my good sir. But I don't mind some cake, seed cake, if you have any. Bilbo had just plumped down the beer and the cake in front of them when the doorbell rang again. What can I do for you? Keely at your service. And Feely, added the other, and they both swept off their blue hoods and bowed. Dwellin and Balin here already, I see.
And the fourth and the teeth, Matikosaurus och children. Is Matikosaurus och children. Teeth. No, you don't even a beat on the Matikosaurus children at the play. Are they forever a beat sing? They're Gorokles, where to have been on teeth, Matikosaurus children at the play. Or forever a beat sing, they're Gorokles. We to have a beat, here we can steal, here we have a sound of a surf. Tråkt villa solo land no more of the delectable Islande. Neverland is the snuggest and the most compact. Nutularge and the spravlu. You know it there, yos. You know the fucking passing their core class. We to have been to rev still here. Who sound of the surf throat we saw. Land, no more of the delectable Island to the Neverland is the snuggest and the most compact no lorge and the spravlu. But remembering sing the first scene when I'm living a coasting, when I'm living a killing, when I'm killing a taping of a local to the last play. Island of the Neverland is the fucking snuggest and the most of the compacts. Not to like a new spravlu. You know it to the distances. Hit the van, the adventure and the nutter. But the miss Lura met. But those limen in a nutter. But the miss Lura met. Killing from the mirror store. Special when you play at the day with the tears of the top black cloth. It's not to in the least lär me, but in the 2 minutes before you go to sleep, it becomes very nearly real. But is the boy uniquely so nearly in the thrill. Och så sneslig inför travel, trådhör children's moist. Minns mörs dårlig, wanting see, could not understand them to tease. With the most perplexing was the word Peter, sick never of no Peter. And yet he was Jere, and the tear is the son that Mikaels means. Ville avvända pickande dö, bit to be, skravlet all over with him. The name must have stood up in the hollow letters then you fought. The name stood out there in the stood. The name stood out in the whole letter stand. And you fought there words and as Mrs. Darling said. She felt that in the had a not glue up around say. Yes, he rotel guggu when you admitted with the regret her mother had been. With leoning her, but he is he, my pet he is, but who is he? My bet he's better than, he's a better than. You know mother at the first, Mrs. Darling did not know, but after thinking back in her childhood, she just forever remember and the Peter Pan who was said to live with the furious. There were odd stories about him as and when the children did went the part of her. They were with them so to take. So not be freaked or right, so had believed, so she had He had believed in him at the time, but no, that he was so worried and full of sense. She quit the door that whatever here was on en så person besides. She said to Vendu, be what they grow up, but his team of no, he's in the grow up. Vendu also red, he no the confident look, and he's also my sitse. She never knew me, that's the very her, she's in the but mint. And nobody, but she didn't know how was she, never, she didn't know he who sick never, it she så knävigt, Mr. Darling konsulent. Body she didn't know how sick never, så som man sisse, when du är så rädd, pojken confident, lu, growed up på till stimme, besides och sisse, to when du, he want to be, grow up till stimme, oh no, he isn't to grow up, when they are so red, he confidently, and he sees my sisse, see me, that we was så hör sisse, in bot mint, man the hody body, she didn't know, how sick never the, sit så knävigt, Mrs. Darling, consulted Mr. Darling, but he Mrs. Darling, consulted Mrs. Darling, but he smiled the boo, Margie my verse, he said it to some, no sense and none has been blotting into her head. So the sort of idea, dog would have leave it alone, or did the blow over, but it was shot not the blow over, and soon the trouble so mad, bio gave Mrs. Darling, but Mrs. Darling, leave it alone, and it will blow over, but it would not blow over, and soon the trouble so mad gave Mrs. Darling, good day shock, children have been strongest adventurous without being troubled, but him were instincts. They may remember settlement in a week after the event happened. Then wait ever in the wood. There met her that was ran the game with him. It was in the casual way, but it was so casual, very in the wood. They met her, that was her, and had the game with him. It was so in the casual way that the Vendu one morning mother made in the disquieting revelation. Bonus summer leaves, some leaves, trees had, some leaf breed of free. Had been fond of nursery, glories so certain, love were not her vänse, children were to not to bed, and Mrs. Darling was a puzzling over him when du said with the tolerant smile, and believe is not better again, whatever you mean when du is not to him, not to vippe, that not even she was so to did receive. When du said to sicting, she explained in the window of mother of fact, wait out to see, look better sometimes. Mr. Darling was so buzzing over time, when du said with the tolerant smile, I don't believe it's really is the better again, whatever. Is that better again? What do you mean? When do we stood knock to offer him not to sweep but to go? When du said 16, she was so docile. She explained it with a matter of fact. Vet att på sitt tåg bara så bättre så timme came to the nursery in the night and the soft to the foot of her bed. And the blade on his pipe to the her und for no night she never vågade, so he didn't know how she knäv, she soft knäv, sick nev. What? No sense you talk precious. No one can't get into the house. Vitut knocki och tinki komme. The boy window said my love is a tree for soup. Värn the livet satte fot. Tuten unte foot eve. At the foot of the wind of mother. It was quite true. Weren't the leaves and the foot of the window. My love is the tree floor soup. Weren't the leaves and the foot of the window. Mother, it was so quite the truth. True, the leaves had been found very near the window. It was a good truth. True, the floors had been, the leaves floor had been found very near the window. Mrs. Darling did know what to think for the cement to naturally depend that you got not to dismiss bit to sing. Bitly and the saying she had been dreaming for it to seem the natural when do what that the can't no dismiss when do that you got no dismiss when do that you got not dismiss. It was saying she had been dreaming. It had been dreaming. Must mother create. Why did you not tell me all this before? I forgot to say when to lick. She was in a hurry to get up her breakfast. So really she must have been dreaming, but on other hand there were the leaves. Mrs. Darling is mean the trip carefully. Tell there were skeleton leaves, but his rotated not to come for any the tree that the crab in England. She gravelled above the floor, bearing at the with the candle for mark of the strong foot. She left the bugger up, they up the cement and the top to the walls. Ink bucket. She left down at the tape. She bunger up. Ink bucket. Green map, she map and the top to the walls. Ink bucket. She beat up certainly when Lee had been dreaming. What the when you had been dreaming as they were on the next nightly so were dreaming. The nick and the wish, the extraordinary. Ink bucket. Then we see it, extraordinary seed. The nick on wish an extraordinary. She gravelled about the floor, spring with that gandle. She gravelled about. She gravelled, not come from any tree. Into England, where was skeleton, where the skeleton lives. But the sura very sura they did. But never again, can't have more soft strength and food. She's rattling to the bugger of the cement, and trouble to the walls. She let down the top from the window to the pavement, and it was her. Drop of the tear to fat, with the enormous spot of the clip of the boot. Certainly, when you had been dreaming, but when you had not been dreaming, last they were next. Nick the Soviet, the Nick and the wish an extraordinary adventure of the children may be said to live. Be gone, lagoon, lagoon. When you going to live, bagoon of the sieve, on the nick of the speak of all the children, were once more in the bed, in the happiness to be known, evening of the missus. Darling had the both head, them and soon to them, till one boy wanted the hat, let go her. And the sleep over into the hand, land of sleep, all over looking so soft and the cozy to test me let the turf feels no lassie said up or down tranquilly but ever to save it's something for them I heard No, I don't even have ever screamed. No, I've never per day was so getting over tears. They had let go her hand and just lead away into the land of sleep. All were looking so soft and the gossip that sees me like that her first no, and the thought not wrong you do, but the fear to save. But we thought it was in the something for all Mikael. Hon his för dig och så getting it her sits. Därför jag var så varm however and Nur serru dimplu lite och det var ett read. Noiktliks, niktliks read. Presently note saving cat. Nick the leaks and the presently the saving led Mrs. Darling lapped in her head the hodet och så rise full det var så asleep. Look at the four of them vände till Mikael over here so here and the Mrs. Darling boy the firre det var the soul happy och fortunikt life likt och ville sitt. Ink but heat. 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 Jere med the night vill jag se. Släppt hit, hade din. Ink but heat. Ink but heat. See dreams that the town never let had heat. Ville she slept this she had a dream. She dreamed that the Neverland had come too near and that strange the heard the boy strange the boy had the broken throat from it. He did not harm her for he did not harm her for she thought she had seen him before him faces of many women who have no children. Perhaps he is the found in the faces of some not hers also but in her. Perhaps he sees in the found in the faces of some mother also but in her dream he had the rent the feel the top to rest the Neverland and he saw Neverland when the land the sun and the Mikael peeping through the gap creeping the gap when you grab up when you can't fly. Oh, you see, you can't fly, said the son, of course in the end. When du lät him fly, och vet du her, och det lät så klimpse, the souls here on the window watching them reading into the sky. Sky, och det lät hej, vara small stars. And that as you look at the window, you may see her. As you look at the window, you may see her hair becoming willow and her figure lippen again. For all here happened long ago. Galet Margaret under never spring, cleaning a team. Expect when her forgets better Gomez for a Margaret undertaken her. Undertaking her. Undertaking her. When you see I forget whether Gomez for Margaret undertakes her forgets Peter Gomez and every spring cleaning a team. Undertakes her forgets Peter Gomez and every spring cleaning a team. And every spring cleaning a team. And every spring cleaning a team. Doctor Galet Margaret under every spring. Cleaning a team expect when he forgets better Gomez. For Margaret and the Toges takes her to the Neverland, where the sea tells him stories. That it's enough for the story about himself, to which he listens eagerly. Tells him stories, tells him stories, then tells him stories. When Margaret grows up, she will have when Margaret grows up, she will have Margaret grows up, she will have a daughter who is to the better. Mother is stern, and so it will go on, as long as children are gay and the innocent and heartless. The end. Day 16, the dream by itself would have been. The dream by itself would have been a trifle, but ville she was dreaming. The window of the nursery blev open, and the body did drop on the floor. Was on a subionet, was licked by a big throat and a fist. This is about the room like a living thing. And thinking it must have been the lick of baconet. Mrs. Darling, he started with a cry and saw the boy and some blow. We never to one said that he was a Petrobon. If you or I in the window had been to result have been. If you are really understanding what I'm really speaking. If you or I in the window had been the result have been. If you are really understanding what I'm really speaking. She started up with the cry and saw the boy, and somehow she never at the one said that he was a better man. If you or I or when du had been here we would have seen that it was so very olika. Mrs. Darling Kiss, he was a lovely boy, clad in the skeleton leaves, and that was the ose out of the trees. But the most interesting thing about him was the head all first teeth. When he saw there was the grow boy that could not shed, there was the grow boy that could not shed. You can leave, you can go, grow up and knäs at her, lilla beers at her. Sotter två, det sa då Mr. Darling, screamed and död as if we in us were to a bell, to door open it, and the nonno and the red returned from her evening out, she crawled and the spang at the hole when the left little broke the window. Again, Mr. Darling screamed it is this team in distress. Then screamed this. You know the meme received this team screamed his team in distress for him. Distress for him, for the throat. Distress for him. This team in distress, little body, but it was not a terror, for he stalked with so killed, and he was so killed. This team in distress for him, for a throat he was so killed. You know what this mean of distress, and she run distress, even not giving everything, and she run down in the street to tell for his little body but the story, but it was in the was not here, and she looked at I didn't give a fuck anymore about it, the word and the black nick, but it's not another tear. See, look at up and up and in the black nick, see gold the scene, nothing about, but this dog was a shooting story seat. See, returnet to that Nursaru, and for the no vittu something in her mouth disapprovet to let the boy sodo. Alltså he leops at the lips, the window nano, the window nano. As the lip at the window, none had closed to date quickly, the window nano. Too late, too late to catch him, but it the sodo had not to had the team 17. Never seen 18, a better vendor to get the window, vendor to get out, slam a vent the window, and snap it off, snap it off, snap it off, snap it off, snap it off. You may be surra, Mrs. Darling, ex-minded, det sa det på korre full. But det var så god idé, det ordinarie inte. När du hade dubbed of what was the best thing to do. With the it is so do, se hon it up at the window meaning peace. Surra, it to come back for it, let to put it. Let us put it where it can be to get it easily. Without disturbing the children, without disturbing the shield, without disturbing the children. Mutta un furnatelu, Mrs. Darling, con not living it there, hang it out of the window. It look at the soul, look at the washing, and the lower that the wall. Tunnel sees houses, she cold poked. She thought of solving it to Mrs. Darling, but he was stopping up a window creek. Goes for it so under Michael with the wet brave round under his head. Too prep, keep under too many fucking falling. That don't mean that today, but the unfortunately Mrs. Darling got not to leave it to hang it out the window. It looked at the solike, the washing. She thought, and the top rat. The wallet home, turn off his house. She thought of solving it to Mrs. Darling, but he was a totting up a window crate. Goes for a son than Mikael with the wet towel around his head to keep his brain clear, and it seemed to some to trouble him besides that he never exactly what he would say, exactly. And he seemed the same trouble of him, busy that he never explained what he would say. It will come so having the coffee nurse. You never the kniva see decided to roll och sätta upp and sen put away korre fullu. Inte drar runt till fitting opportunity Kämmö förtällning hör husband och mig. Anten the opportunity come so we can later. On that never took the boat forget to free day. Never to be forgotten free day. Of course it was a Friday. I hope to have been special and to free day. Friday. Korre full on a free day. She was said to say afterward to her husband. Ville perhult nana was another side of her holding her hand. No, Mr. Darling always said I'm not married, my son to see black for it all. I'm not the husband of the worst to the horror husband. With purpose none of us know her, scared of her, holding her hand. No, Mr. Darling always said I'm responsible for it all husband. George Darling did money son kulpa men kulpa. He had the classical education. They sat to sneak the through, sneak the whistling, that the calling, photo of free day, till on every detail of his self-esteem bed of their brains. And the camera dropped from the atrocity, like the faces of a bad going so gay. But to me was so meaning of real. Make a fearful, he had to kept at the invitation to the dinner to 97. To Mrs. Darling said if only I had read my Meslindo. If only I had said if only I had read my Meslindo. Mrs. Darling said if only I had read my Meslindo. Said if only I had read my Meslindo. If only I had. Said if only I had read my Meslindo. Read my Meslindo. Read my Meslindo. My Meslindo, my Meslindo, read my Meslindo, read my Meslindo, read my Meslindo. Itsestäni popia hattava sittenkin tostakin läkin on näkyvä kiinnittää vaan, silittää vaan. Niin pitävä huomistoni, jotenkin piristävää parempaa. Tiedän miksi tein niin kiinnittävän. Nähdessä huomisen voi vaan ilman, että tarvitsee nähdä kipeyteen minnekään muuhun kuin viehättävyyteen. Parempaa tunteeseen ilman, että tunteestani mihinkään häipyvää. Mutta mitä muutako tarvitsee miettiä vaan. Mitä se itsekin kieltää vaan. Sunnuntaihin, lauantaihin, perjantaihin asti veriseen. Huomiseen päivään minnekin keritään sittenkin pyöritään. Tunteessani siitä. Tästä kaiken siirtää, vai kuinka piilitää. Vai mitä se vihentää vaan, kuitenkin olisi piilistävää. Niinku hommissa päällä levaa. Front of the mirror, checking myself, going to be consider. Vittu anything fair, vittu anything stupidity. Vittu fucking stupid human beings, vittu care. Oh, look at me, I'm a fucking solver. With this, like a killer. Fucking no enemy in this fucking no witness grand. Vittu anything fucking no mielipiteen. I'm a vitsi notuten, niinku nämylis plan. Vittu the fucking grand titen. Kola. Death in their mind, death in their fucking skin. There in the fucking room is an alkoini sittenkin pudrata jonnekin astuva. Mutta taas tää on minnekö häpyvää, nopeasti tämänkin häpyvää. Niinku tekevä ihmisen niinku näkevä sitten suunnaten. Hänet minnekö painoltasti ani. Täälläni tossakin säilyvää, minnekään tästäkin tunteesta häpyvää. Vaan surua, häälle tuskaa, surussa niinku häpyvää. Mitä ikinä tekevänkään, niistä mitäkään väliä vaan. Mitä ikinä tekevänkään. Niinku kästää mustakaan. Niinku mä tosi mitenkään hetkikin jokainen ihminen tästäkin elämästä murhataan. No tästi ani. Kusuvaa, minnekä siitäkin purnataan. Niinku kytilä näkyvää ympärilläni. Niinku tekevä ihmisen niinku näkevä siitä suunnaten. Hänet minnekä vaan no tästi ani. No tästi ani. Mutta ei kukaan muu ole mulle ihan niin. Mutta ei kukaan muu ole mulle ihan niin. Laitan itseni tämänkin pistäni niinku kuuluen ympäriltäni. How you did the fucking along kuvaga. Like a pin a love lyö. Noll tästi ani, noll tästi ani. Putanot nöttössä. Porano diittyy ilman fucking head. Like us fucking spell. With my head. Like you don't got do anything for me. Noll tästi ani. Killing a turn, killing a willing a with my fucking a meeting of I can be like a fucking a spell I spell. Spelling the safety crafting. With anything saatling. Tässäkin pistässä maattiin. Pitäisi mennä vaan paattiin. Huomisen päivässä kahtiin. Siitä minä paataessaan. Noll tästi ani. Lähtiessään. Huomista ei nähdessään. Päivän moroni, suntani päivää marastani. Huomisen tähänkin lähtestäviin. Niinku möleni itkettävää, itkettävää. Huomisen kitkerävää, huomisen ei mun tarvii. No tästi ani, no tästi ani. Pölata, huomista minnekä kerätä. Huomisen miettiään levätä mitäkin sittenkin kauttani. Taas kerätä. Taas mölni tunteni tilani kakeni vihoni tähänkin tilankin sittenkin kerrata. Huomisen sittenkin tietää vaan. Huomisen älä itsesi menettää. Niin kuin itsesi selistää. Huomisen nähdä vaan pelistää. Pudodet ihmisiä hikistää. Nähdä sun sittenkin vaan vilistää. Huomisen minä ikinä haluatkaan nähdä. Orpani mun otsassani nähdä. Paremman päivän huomisen nähdäkin latsujeni. Notutani. Näkevä huomisen ryhmänä rahmana mitenkään pastavaa. No tästi ani. Mihinkään muuhun kuin vaan. Sittenkin mitä mä haluaisin. Vaan pysy vaan muuten vaan palaten takaisin. Taas. Pysy vaan tällä nyt minne mä haluan mennäkään. Miksei kukaan keksii vaan. Etsi vaan huomisesta menettää vaan. Pysy vaan, mä tästäkin lähtee vaan. Mihin mä vaan halutan, sinnekin pääsee vaan. Tästäkään ikinä lähtien poikkään. Vaan sinne minne mä haluan mennä. No tästi ani. Käydä sinne minne pääsen menee, sulku lähtään. Käydä sinne minne pääsen menee, sulku lähtään. Lähtää niin kuin suihkulolottaa. Niin pääsevistään. Noll tästi ani. Sinne minne pääsen menee, sulku lähtään. Käydä sinne minne pääsen menee, sulku lähtään. Noll tästi ani. Käydä sinne minne pääsen menee, sulku lähtään. Noll tästi ani. Noll tästi ani. Noll tästi ani. Käydä sinne minne pääsen menee, sulku lähtään. Käydä sinne minne pääsen menee, sulku lähtään. Noll tästi ani. Noll tästi ani. Käydä sinne minne pääsen menee, sulku lähtään. Noll tästi ani. Käydä sinne minne pääsen menee, sulku lähtään. Sukelahtaa, minä ikinä menemään piettää. Sitten vaan sittenkin murhataan, takani sittenkin avaa vien. Löydä vedön, sitten pitää pääsy menee, sitä kuulahtaan. Löydä vedön, sitten pitää pääsy menee, sitä kuulahtaan. Hörde never a cry, hörde never a cry. Aslan en oss hivvåld, never römter vidare tom. Norret marken var stiv, katin och helt siltrad. Bara hörde never a cry, där dis, but det är inte kostrat av. So he pulled a little priesty, only a little of the goodness and grace over to him and sing and also so heard the rest of the music. But he was so far from everyone here was Peter stepped over the rafters, stepped over the rafters, the rafters, the rafters. But he was so far from everyone here was Peter stepped over the rafters. Rafters, the bit of person but he wasn't safe from everyone here speeded a tip to at the rafters under the witness the turn of his kadala he more of a paper in the coda called the broken suitor kept to his doors he relict of the afternoon so then in a truck for the glass of the burning of the salt terrace swimming or seas the day of the first literate sus lookies for the he felt to side he felt to fright he felt to say he felt the misery suddenly he did it not and dread that made an easy möte the devil wonder the heap mother was so old his mother was so young and he that by the corner of tears this and the as unknown horror of fighting of him what the wasn't hit if red but he was so from everyone who speeders a tip at the rafters and feet Surf, sudden turn of the his gamla heap med det för en upper intrakade kollen på kunde sluter gav to pistas the greater light of the afternoon Wonder the heap but there was no his mother was so young and he the very corner of tears this and the as unknown horror of fighting of him and what the wasn't hit if red so another thing it rocked by the glass and the bell ring of the swap the front swimming as steadily rocked the bridge literally lookies horror of fighting of him and what the wasn't hit if red so another thing it rocked by the glass and the bell ring of the swap the front swimming as steadily rocked the bridge literally lookies but the he felt so he felt afraid thought made the time of the scene the border his father was so old his mother was so young and ever the corner of these and the some unknown horror of fighting of him what was he for the he did it not know yet it was him the he said the secrets in the never about him something was on a whisper and afterwards then is done some soft reverence done it some soft whisper reverence among them But he was safe from everyone here speeders dipped to the rafters and within a sudden throne of his gauntlet he made an pattern of in the side golden broken and covered he thought Jack progress so you are all that boy best glossy and we said boy blooded bones blooded bones blooded bones blooded bones blooded bones healing you Gray light of the afternoon steadily dropped the priest little look is water he felt sad, he felt afraid, he felt the misery suddenly didn't know the name dread that mountain of things the void of wonder his water was so old he his mother was so young. The recovery of tears. There was a much unknown horror awaiting him. What was it for? He did it not know yet. It seemed that he said the secret in an very about him. Something more than a man of experience and other words. The need some soft reference among the servants. Was so old, his mother was so young, and the recovery of both his father was so fucking dead, his mother was so fucking dead, the core of both his was so young. There seemed some unknown horror awaiting him. What was it he felt? Boy, dead of dead. Felt of misery, suddenly this he didn't know the moment. Dropped the mother, some of the things. Devoid of wonder, his father was so young, his mother was so dead, his sister was so young, his children. Father was so fucking dead, his children was so fucking dead. Children was so fucking dead. The burning current of the tears. Bearing of the soft. But on a glass 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 bearing of the soft. Bearing glass bearing of the soft. But on a glass bearing bearing of the soft. Some of things peace. But on a glass bearing of the soft. Felt that he felt unafraid. Yeah. His father was so old, his mother was so young, and the very core of all this with the same some unknown horror awaiting him. What was he feared? He did not know, yet it seemed he sent the sadness, seemed the regrets in the very know about him. Something was a man of his spirit, and the author was than yet some sort of reference among the servants in the complex. He was so uncertain. He was so uncertain. But might be the end. It was only the thought of his life. The thought of his life. So unhappy. His father was so old, his mother was so young, and the very core of all of this, there was a man, some unknown horror awaiting him. What was his favorite? He didn't know, yet it was a man. He soon said a sacrifice in the very know about him. Some demons, no more. whisperer of the rivers, the near sons of the rivers among the servants of the poor conflicts. He was uncertain, and it was only the thought of his life
Mikä näköistä tuntuu, mikä kiisaa, että se ei mun sisällä jotakin, mitä kuka
periaatteessa yltäisi, mutta sitten mä jostakin syystäkin tossakin hetkessä niin vittukin hyvässä pelissä, ette voi ymmärtää mitäkään hylkää mä täällä. Mä sua vaiket nyt, ei muista, yhdestä syystäkin rikkakurotsa, eikä mistäkin auki ratsa, eikä mutta enkä vieläkään tämäkin pistämässä sen niin kuin vaikka sisällä, niin se oli se jossakin vilkalla, jostakin syystäkin pulkassa, jotenkin tästäkin stuukastaa, pitääkin mulkastaa, Tommi ei kuvat se teetti, sillä mikä tunnetaan jotenkin jostakin syystä vaan, herra vai jostakin nuori, käynnin pelkää vaan, valkoisessakin lasten sanokin välistäkin tunnekin, pitäisi liikkua verran, sisuttan jossakin onkin tarpeeksi hiljaa niin, että 24 sekä valita äksikin mikkuttanakin vuosina niin, vaikka taas mikkuutta ei kaiken pakastaa, ammat olot etuuni, tämmöisiä valmiissa nallakin ollaan, opettajalle niin opettajakin kyllä päällä, ratasta hyväpäinen lähdettä, joskin sellaiseen, ja ylikin läsipä, että ilman kaikki kymmeniä opettaa, niin sanotaan jokin kaikki, että sitten on matussa, ja tämäkin opetin perätään järkillä, sen sitten tulevan kääneen, sittenkin yksi pajottakin onkin, että ei itse määrittää, sekin kärkkäriin, kaiket serkan, että voidaan vaikka tosi esissä, mistä sitten apapurahille ääni, ollaan, että se tunnelmaa, niin se verkuunnelmaa, parempi muunnelmaa, loppuun sitten sijaa, eikä välkunnelmaa, eikä tarvitse heikkasiä, I can see operator games a bit later on that never to be forgotten Friday. Of course it was a Friday. I hope to have been special colorful on the Friday. 3 days she used to say after rush to her whose plan will perhaps none of us on the other room. She held her, holding her hand. No, Miss Browning, all I say I'm responsible for it all. Gerge darling didida, me al sulba, mi al sulba. Hida sulba, hida sulba. I like the Gandhi, my sulpa. He had big classical education. Responsible for it all, like Gerge darling did it. Me sulba. He had been classical education. I'm responsible for it all. Gerge darling did it. Me al sulba. I'm responsible for it all. Gerge darling did it. Me al sulba. Glass minus zero. Days of the push. Need of Rick reading that the bottle of Friday. Deal every detail of the was to stand bad on your brains. And the gang drugs don't they want that or see that or like the process. See that or liga like the faces on the back. Going on get if only I had not accepted that invitation to my dimmer at 27. 27, Mr. Darling said if only had not aborted my medicine into none bubble. Seen in a Mrs. Darling, I had never read my medicine into demon when deceive. You understand then if only I had not read my medicine into non's bubble. Said Mrs. Darling, if only I had written it to lick the medicine, then no movie was. Tatto non ho svetto negli set. Moi looking for the party as George. Mein photo gift of humor. Readress, dearest. My dosiness of a trifles. My dearest. My dosiness of a trifles. There are monster. It was the nono. Wet day as you say. My looking for the party as George. My photo gift, my photo gift, my photo gift of the humor. Georg, my photo gift of the humor. Rearrest, my tosiness of the three flash. Their master and the mistress. The above murray stand will break down. My dollar gift of humor. Rearrest, my tosiness of the three flash. Their master and the mistress. Then the go back of the murray of them. Will the break down. Mama licking the 40s. Was the none of vet on a saved. Then the public enemy is going to be in the grave. Move up to leave the humor, the rest of my dosiness. Why it's all listening so fucking remand? Fitnaning, maybe it's a fuck put of murdering. My dosiness of the three flash, their master and the mistress. Then the gap of murray of them will break a doven. Oh, do there. All together, no, no. All together, no, no. All together, no, no. At the throat, it's the true, it's the true. Take off, not to have a bad or the dog. For a nurse, many of team. Was som är så dålig. Hon borta henne fria chef. Utan hon sägas. That's the friend. Mr. Dirty Boy Troy. Under proof. Nonna Borg was asshole och fit. But the Mrs. Darling never do pray that better. There was something in the rigged hand. Går corner of her mouth had wanted to her not to call better names. Better names, even if they would up the seat. Tearing the Neptune ur särm. Resolve on every small detail of that be removed. But I really need to reach the hand of her amount to the one to her. Not to call better names. They would up to sit her in the Neptune ur särm. Recalling font in every smallest detail of the that dreadful evening it had begun. Think about replay, you can feel ashamed. Thinking about this, thinking about he that the beacon so full, so preciously, like 100 of her evenings with another boutique on the water for me collapse bath. And the current heat, it on her back. I want to get to bed. He had the salt net like a woman who still believed the what to had to tell the last word on the subject. I won't even, none I see, 6 o'clock yet. Oh dear, my feel, oh dear, so to solve love you anymore. I don't love you don't anymore, no, I tell you. I won't be able, but ready, I won't, tell me darling. One day I got is going to eat some fucking cryptate. Then the 6 o'clock, but yet, though there are dead road, something about the club, but you and your fucking more. No. Malikin of the bordias, girls, more patologist of humor. The rest, matosinas, about the 3 flash. Their mother, and the miseries, the one more of them, will breathe down. One I got is going to eat some fucking cryptate. Then the 6 o'clock, but yet, though there are dead road, something about the club, but you and your fucking more. No. One I got is going to eat some fucking cryptate. Then the 6 o'clock, but yet, though there are dead road, something about the club, but you and your fucking more. No. The misery so don't be seen. It needs closer on the things a point of wonder. His water was old. His water was so young. The recover of tears. The unknown horror of a thing. What was it for? It is not known yet. It does seem that he is the sacred. In a better now, but he something with a face mirror. And other words. Something with a face mirror. And other words. And other words. Need some sort of reference among the servants. But the unknown horror of a thing was so old. His mother was so young. And the recover of both his. But the unknown horror of a thing. His father was so fucking dead. His mother was so fucking dead. The core of both his was so young. There seemed so unknown horror of a thing. What was it he felt? Boy, dead of wonder. Felt the misery, so the loop this he did it. knopparna med rattet och det som ofta tings. Det var därför var his father was so young, his mother was so dead, his sister was so young, his children father was so fucking dead, his children was so fucking dead, children was so fucking dead. The vertical of his. But the glass bearing of the sun, summer of his peace. But the glass bearing of the sun. Birds are here, but unafraid. Children was so fucking dead. The vertical of his. Yes. But the glass bearing of the sun. Birds are here, but unafraid. Birds are here, but unafraid. His father was so old, his mother was so young, and the very core of all this with the summer som uppnådd horror-övertid. Him, what was he buried? He did not know, yet it seemed he said the sadness, seemed the secrets, in the very know about him. Something was in the middle of his spirit, and the author was the need songs of the reference, among the reference in the complex, he was so uncertain. He was so uncertain. It might be the end. It was only the thought of his life. The thought of his life. So unhappy. He was so uncertain. It might be the end. It was only the thought of his life. The thought of his life. His father was so old, his mother was so young, and the very core of all of this, there was a man, some unknown horror, affecting him. What was his favorite? He didn't know, yet it was a sacrifice in the very know about him. Some demons, no, whisper of the reward, the end, sons of the rivers among the servants of the poor complete. He was so uncertain. It was only the thought of his life. 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 He was so uncertain. It would be the end. It was only the thought of his life. The thought of his life. It would be the end. It was only the thought of his life. He said a sacrifice in the arena about the heaps of mess. No moon, a whisper of the reward, the end, sons of the rivers among the servants of the poor complete. He was so uncertain. It would be the end. It was only the thought of his life. The thought of his life. The thought of his life.
Of course, They did none of these dreadful things. Everything was cleaned and put away safe as quick as lightning. "Now for some music," said Thorin. "Bring out the instruments." They came back with Thorin's harp wrapped in a green cloth, a beautiful golden harp, and when Thorin struck it, the music was so sudden and sweet that Bilbo forgot everything else and was swept away into dark lands under strange moons, far over the water and very far from his hobbit hole under the hill. First one, and then another, began to sing, deep-throated singing of the dwarves in the deep places of their ancient homes. Far over the misty mountains cold, to dungeons deep and caverns old, we must away ere break of day to seek the pale enchanted gold. The dwarves of yore made mighty spells, while hammers fell like ringing bells in places deep where dark things sleep, in hollow halls beneath the fells. The bells were ringing in the dale, and men looked up with faces pale. The dragon's ire, more fierce than fire, laid low their towers and houses frail. The mountains smoked beneath the moon. The dwarves, they heard the tramp of doom. They fled their hall to dying fall beneath his feet, beneath the moon. Far over the misty mountains grim, to dungeons deep and caverns dim, we must away ere break of day to win our hearts and gold from him. As they sang, the hobbit felt the love of beautiful things made by hands and by cunning and by magic moving through him, a fierce and jealous love, the desire of the hearts of dwarves. Then something Tookish woke up inside him, and he wished to go and see the great mountains and explore the caves and wear a sword instead of a walking stick. Suddenly in the wood beyond the water a flame leapt up, probably somebody lighting a wood fire, and he thought of plundering dragons settling on his quiet hill and kindling it all to flames. He shuddered, and very quickly he was plain Mr. Baggins of Bag End under Hill again. Bilbo got up trembling. "Where are you going?" said Thorin. What about a little light?" said Bilbo apologetically. "We like the dark," said all the dwarves. "Dark for dark business. There are many hours before dawn." "Oh, of course," said Bilbo, and sat down in a hurry. He missed the stool and sat in the fender, knocking over the poker and the shovel with a crash. "Will you be quiet?" said Gandalf. "Let Thorin speak." "Gandalf, dwarves, and Mr. Baggins, we are met to discuss our plans, our ways, means, policy, and devices. We shall soon before the break of day start on our long journey, a journey from which some of us, or perhaps all of us, may never return." Poor Bilbo couldn't bear it any longer at "may never return." He began to feel a shriek coming up inside, and very soon it burst out like the whistle of an engine coming out of a tunnel. He fell flat on the floor and kept calling out, "Struck by lightning! Struck by lightning!" And that was all they could get out of him for a very long time. So they took him and laid him on the drawing-room sofa with a drink at his elbow and went back to their dark business. After a while, and a drink, Bilbo crept nervously to the door of the parlour. He heard Glóin talking about him. "One shriek like that in a moment of excitement would be enough to wake the dragon and all his relatives and kill the lot of us. I think it sounded more like fright than excitement. In fact, if it had not been for the sign on the door, I should have been sure we had come to the wrong house. He looks more like a grocer than a burglar." Many a time afterwards, Bilbo regretted what he did next. He walked right in and put his foot in it. "Pardon me," he said. "I don't pretend to understand what you're talking about, or your reference to burglars, but I think I am right in believing that you think I am no good. Look, I have no signs on my door. It was painted a week ago, and I am quite sure that you have come to the wrong house. But tell me what you want done, and I will try it. If I have to walk from here to the east of East and fight the wild wereworms in the last desert. I had a great-great-great-granduncle once, Bull Roarer Took, and—" "Yes, but that was long ago," said Glowin. "I was talking about you, and I assure you there is a mark on this door, the usual one in the trade. Burglar wants a good job, plenty of excitement and reasonable reward. Clear as day." "Of course there is a mark," said Gandalf. "I put it there myself, for very good reasons. You asked me to find the 14th man for your expedition, and I chose Mr. Baggins. Just let anyone say I chose the wrong man or the wrong house, and you can stop at 13 and have all the bad luck you like, or go back to digging coal. Let's have no more argument. I have chosen Mr. Baggins, and that ought to be enough for all of you. If I say he is a burglar he is, or will be when the time comes. Now, Bilbo, my boy, fetch the lamp, and let's have a little light on this." On the table, in the light of a big lamp with a red shade, he spread a piece of parchment. "This was made by Thror, your grandfather, Thorin. It is a plan of the mountain." "I don't see that this will help us much," said Thorin. "I remember the mountain well enough and the lands about it, and I know where Mirkwood is, and the Withered Heath where the great dragon's bred." "One point you haven't noticed," said the wizard, "and that is the secret entrance. You see the rune on the west side and the hand pointing to it from the other runes? That marks a hidden passage to the lower halls." "It may have been secret once," said Thorin. "But how do we know that it is secret any longer? Old Smaug has lived there long enough now to find out anything there is to know about those caves." "He may, but he can't have used it for years and years." "Why?" "Because it is too small. 5 feet high the door, and 3 may walk abreast, say the runes. But Smaug could not creep into a hole that size, not even when he was a young dragon. Certainly not after devouring so many of the dwarves and men of Dale." "It seems a great big hole to me. How could such a large door be kept secret from everybody outside apart from the dragon?" "In lots of ways," said Gandalf. "From what it says on the map, I should guess there is a closed door which has been made to look exactly like the side of the mountain. Also with the map went a key, a small and curious key. Here it is. Keep it safe." "Oh, this is news. Indeed I will," said Thorin. "Now, so far we have no clear idea what to do. We thought of going east, as quiet and careful as we could, as far as the Long Lake. After that, the trouble would begin." "A long time before that, if I know anything about the roads east," interrupted Gandalf. "We might go from there up along the river Running," said Thorin, taking no notice, "and so to the ruins of Dale, the old town in the valley there, under the shadow of the mountain. But we none of us like the idea of the front gate. The river runs right out of it through the great cliff at the south of the mountain, and out of it comes the dragon, unless he has changed his habits." "That would be no good," said the wizard. "Not without a mighty warrior, even a hero. I tried to find one, but heroes are scarce, not to be found. That is why I settled on burglary, especially when I remembered the existence of a side door. And here is our little Bilbo Baggins, chosen and selected burglar. So let's get on and make some plans." "Very well, then," said Thorin. "Supposing the burglar expert gives us some ideas."
Well, first, I should like to know a bit more about things. I mean about the gold and the dragon and all that. Also, I should like to know about risks, out-of-pocket expenses, time required, and remuneration, and so forth."
"Very well," said Thorin. "Long ago, in my grandfather Thror's time, our family was driven out of the far north and came back with all their wealth and tools to this mountain. It had been discovered by my ancestor, Thrain the Old. They mined and they tunneled and they made huger holes and greater workshops. And in addition, I believe they found a good deal of gold and a great many jewels, too. Anyway, they grew immensely rich and famous, and my grandfather was king under the mountain again. His halls became full of armor and jewels and carvings and cups. Undoubtedly, that was what brought the dragon. Dragons steal gold and jewels and guard their plunder as long as they live. There was a most specially greedy, strong and wicked dragon called Smaug. One day he flew into the air and came south. The first we heard of it was a noise like a hurricane coming from the north, and the pine trees on the mountain creaking and cracking in the wind. Some of the dwarves who happened to be outside saw the dragon settle on our mountain in a spout of flame. He came down the slopes, and when he reached the woods, they all went up in flames. By that time, all the bells were ringing in Dale, and the warriors were arming. The dwarves rushed out of their great gate, but there was the dragon waiting for them. None escaped that way. The river rushed up in steam, and the fog fell on Dale, and the dragon came and destroyed most of them. Then he crept back through the front gate and routed out the halls, lanes and tunnels, alleys, cellars, mansions and passages. After that there were no dwarfs left alive inside, and he took all their wealth for himself. He has piled it all up in a great heap far inside and sleeps on it for a bed. We mean to get it back and to bring our curses home to Smaug, if we can. I have often wondered about my father's escape and my grandfather's escape. I see now that they must have had a private side door which only they knew about, but apparently they made a map. And I should like to know how Gandalf got hold of it. I did not get hold of it, I was given it, said the wizard. Your father gave me this to give to you. He could not remember his own name when he gave me the paper, and he never told me yours, so on the whole I think I ought to be praised and thanked. Here it is. Hear, hear, thought Bilbo, and accidentally said it aloud. Hear what? They all said, turning suddenly towards him, and he was so flustered that he answered, hear what I have got to say. What's that? They asked. Well, I should say that you ought to go east and have a look round. After all, there is a side door, and dragons must sleep sometimes, I suppose. And, well, don't you know? I think we have talked long enough for one night. What about bed and an early start? I will give you a good breakfast before you go. Before we go, you mean, said Thorin. Aren't you the burglar? Isn't getting inside the door your job? One thing Bilbo did make up his mind about was not to bother to get up very early and cook everybody else's wretched breakfast. And he was not now quite so sure that he was going on any journey in the morning. As he lay in bed, he could hear Thorin still humming to himself in the best bedroom next to him. Far over the misty mountains cold, to dungeons deep and caverns old, we must away ere break of day, to find our long-forgotten gold. Bilbo went to sleep with that in his ears, and it gave him very uncomfortable dreams. It was long after the break of day when he woke up. Next morning, he bounded out of bed and rushed to the kitchen. The washing up was so dismally real that Bilbo was forced to believe the party of the night before had not been part of his bad dreams, as he had rather hoped. The dwarves had gone. He began to whistle loudly, trying to forget all about them, when in walked Gandalf. "My dear fellow," said he, "whenever are you going to come? They left you a message because they could not wait." "What message?" said poor Mr. Baggins, all in a fluster. "Great elephants! If you had dusted the mantelpiece, you would have found this just under the clock," said Gandalf, handing Bilbo a note. And this is what Bilbo read. "Thorin and Company to Burglar Bilbo. For your hospitality, our sincerest thanks, and for your offer of professional assistance, our grateful acceptance. Terms, cash on delivery, up to and not exceeding 1/14 of total profits, if any. All travelling expenses guaranteed in any event. Funeral expenses to be defrayed by us or our representatives. Thinking it unnecessary to disturb your esteemed repose, we have proceeded in advance to make requisite preparations
and shall await your respected person at the Green Dragon Inn, Bywater, at 11 a.m. sharp. Trusting that you will be punctual, we have the honour to remain yours deeply, Thorin and Company.
That leaves you just 10 minutes. You will have to run, said Gandalf.
But, said Bilbo.
No time for it, said the wizard.
But, said Bilbo again.
No time for that either. Off you go.
Pushing his keys into Gandalf's hands, and running as fast as his furry feet could carry him down the lane, past the great mill, across the water, Bilbo was very puffed when he got to Bywater, just on the stroke of 11.
Bravo,
said Balin, looking at him. Just then all the others came round the corner of the road from the village. They were on ponies, and each pony was slung about with all kinds of baggages, packages, parcels, and paraphernalia. There was a very small pony, apparently for Bilbo.
Up you get, and off we go,
said Thorin. I'm awfully sorry, said Bilbo, but I have come without my hat, and I have left my pocket handkerchief behind, and I haven't got any money.
Don't worry, said Dwalin. You will have to manage without pocket handkerchiefs and a good many other things before you get to the journey's end.
So, on a fine May morning, they jogged off from the inn on laden ponies, Bilbo wearing a dark green hood and a dark green cloak borrowed from Dwalin. They had not been riding very long when up came Gandalf, very splendid on a white horse. He had brought a lot of pocket handkerchiefs and Bilbo's pipe and tobacco. At first, they passed through the green fields of the Hobbit lands. Then they came into the lone lands, where there were no people left, no inns, and the roads grew steadily worse. Not far ahead were dreary hills, rising higher and higher, dark with trees. Everything seemed gloomy and dull. To think it will soon be June, grumbled Bilbo as he splashed along behind the others in a very muddy track. It was after tea time, he was soaked, his hood was dripping into his eyes, his cloak was full of water, the pony was tired, and the others were too grumpy to talk. I'm sure the rain has got into the dry clothes and into the food bags, thought Bilbo. Bother burgling and everything to do with it. I wish I was at home in my nice hole by the fire with the kettle just beginning to sing.
It was not the last time that he wished that. It began to get dark
as they went into a deep valley with a river at the bottom. At last they stopped. Thorin muttered something about supper and finding a dry patch to sleep on. Not until then did they notice that Gandalf was missing.
Just when a wizard would have been most useful too, groaned
I can see operator games of equal around that. Never to be forgotten Friday. Of course it was a Friday. I hoped to have been special colorful on the Friday. 3 days she used to say. After rush to her whose band Lila perhaps. None of us on the other side of her. Holding her hand, none of me darling. All I say, I'm responsible for it all. Gerge darling didida, me al sulba, mi al sulba. He sulba, he sulba. I like the Gandhi, my sulba, he had big classical education. Responsible for it all, like Gerge darling did it. Me sulba, he had been classical education. I'm responsible for it all, Gerge darling did it. Me al sulba, mi al sulba. I'm responsible for it all, Gerge darling did it. Me al sulba, Meals full of glass minus zero. Days at the tools. Need of Rick read that the bottle of Friday. Deal every detail of the was to stand bad on your brains. And the game drugs don't they want that or to see that or like the process. See that or ligga like the faces on the back. Going on get if only I had not accepted that invitation to my dimmer at that 27, Mr. Darling said if only had not the board of my medicine into none is above. Seen in a Mrs. Darling, I had never read my medicine in the dimmer when deceive. You understand then if only I had not brought my medicine into non's above. Said Mrs. Darling, if only I had written it to lick the medicine, then no movie was. That non's vetten you said my looking for the party as George, my bottle of gift of humor. Their rest, my dosiness about 3 flesh. Their rest, my dosiness about 3 flesh. Their monster, it was the nono, web they as you say. My looking for the party as George. My bottle of gift, my bottle gift, my bottle gift of the humor. Georg, my bottle gift of the humor. There rest, my tosiness up of 3 flesh. There master and the mistress. The buffer murray stand will break down. My bottle gift of humor. There rest, my tosiness up of 3 flesh. There master and the mistress. Then the go back of the morale stamp. Go the break down. Mama licking the 40s. Was the none of that you saved. Then the public enemy is going to be in the grave. Move up to leave the humor. The rest of my dosiness. Why it's all listening so fucking remand. Fitnessing, maybe it's a fuck good of murdering. Motosines, up to 3 flash, there are master and the mistress. Then no gap of more of them will bring a doven together. Up a bit of come to impress it. And I never call them again, even if I try to explain. And it's okay, understand, it doesn't matter the embraces me. The worst began, it's fucking weird to yell. Because it's so fucking weird to yell. Victor for the forces of the dem. Democratic freedom. What the fuck? Victor for the fucking worst because it's the fucking word to yell. The fucking perfectly good thing, good then perf. Victor. That fucking make me destroying the same main point. Victor, the fucking Victor for the forces of the democratic freedom. Very soothing, but that I can always tell to the beat of the freaking dog. Unconscious belong to me and pretending they understand and the those are those ones. Those who are once were actually and to almost. Present the calling them, avoiding them to what. Love you anyway. I think the code won't be anyway. I never heard it, no, but the way I do it, I'm not a political person. I don't consider myself. I am not one of those American fears that never have married that. Will who goes in, read the newspaper, new paper, bill, paper, pussy, news. Feel pushing on, get the good people, get the not people, get the not people. Vittu se on Jere. Get the not people. inget, vitsa no kirl, inte dessa debatter, men it's the van, I want to keep calm, to calm, tätä inte ha bands, tän inte ha bands. Tän, that is on happening. I'm not the... Yeah, I'm not the not Democratian, democratic human, but ever put it, so don't do it. Doctor, it the fucking no radio, and I'm missing no blue. Oh no, mostly, and it have dialogue clean, the fucking no set, it have a uncollet. I'm not a democratic, I don't even vote, I'm a freak adult, I put the it one steam at the college. A radio, someone about it, a doctor on the radio, I don't know mostly, and his dialogue net, diagnose that. Diagnose that. Diagnose that. Uncontrolled yelling in the inflammatory wars of the prices. Anonymously and the dialoguing frequently inculting of the scrotological vision and plotting coprologia. Coprologia is the key initial term. Expect men start to come and don't always. Scatological frequently missing coprologia. Coprologia is no. Coprologia is enough. Expect when I start to come and always. Expect when I start to come and always start yelling. It is the way so weird, but I don't think in cool thing. I think it is just weird. Ways is the weird, but I don't think in school thing. I think it is just weird. It's the uncontrolled. And the uncontrolled, it's like it comes out the same way. It the spooky comes out. It feels like a tat. I don't fucking really. What is on the boat and I can't help it. Victor, help it, help. See, go, Victor, for the forces of way louder, as it's a really true thing, so think it uncontrollably. Uncontrollably. Process. Victory for the forces of the democratic freedom, only louder than that victory. Brefinder. See, break observator. It's a fucking profit. Observation. Observe. Also snänt the facility for these feels when I eat that fucking I believe in the fucking psychiatric hospital. I believe. The sounding that makes me totally freaking time out. It is a probability and the probability to raise a minimal con. Essential benign, I think you'll have to agree. And it is probability and provided 2 tiers provided. But it's the feel that the COVID to be ground and that the fucking question able thing on a living on. Yes, he's dead in the fucking soul thing. Number who is regular and connecting conversation sur that there were surprising that there is surprisingly 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 that small number who are regular. Any correction is not a fucking upgrade than the from psychology. Obvious. Various that the therapist consur I McDonald. Here is another. I McDonald here and Donald Severa. Sorry, Donald Quintatidu. Stick, consur, tatamakin na may snid. Nevertheless, 3 till can't lead to be a good man. Temper and dice a word, not a good man, but who is nevertheless here and on elsewhere. Consur omiktonad. So it's all good to do, so it's on. So it's all good to do. So it's all good to do. So it's all good to do. I see the snow is dropping and the titu when the beard is a singing. Därför faller man för när det får en fattor väg. Du måste väg som är det hula väg för när rulla. Väl man fattor was you must say so man whoever was a boy. By natural. Who was a boy, natural, broad. Boy, natural, Pros i liviru, pros livitu, pros liviru. Penetta good, a man, to never. But who was, you must say, a man who was by naturality, probability, not a good man, but who nevertheless, helpless, hell. I can't live, not to being a good man, temper and the word, I mean, it was not this a torturing. It's not a nice of fire, I'm torturing time or burning time by my so probably we do for a rates, especially country listenable. This right there to the emergency room for the overturned stream. Overbrand team afraid. Temper and up, probability for the domestic violence. Somebody was so afraid, was so his. Afraid enough. Probability for the demonstrating domestic violence. That was a teaspoon of never period. Teaspoon of a period of time. I don't ever tell. Probability for the domestic. Domestic violence.
Whenever are you going to come? They left you a message because they could not wait.
What message? Said poor Mr. Baggins, all in a fluster.
Great elephants! If you had dusted the mantelpiece, you would have found this just under the clock, said Gandalf, handing Bilbo a note.
And this is what Bilbo read. Thorin and Company to burglar Bilbo. For your hospitality, our sincerest thanks, and for your offer of professional assistance, our grateful acceptance. Terms, cash on delivery, up to and not exceeding 1/14 of total profits, if any. All travelling expenses guaranteed in any event. Funeral expenses to be defrayed by us or our representatives. Thinking it unnecessary to disturb your esteemed repose, we have proceeded in advance to make requisite preparations, and shall await your respected person at the Green Dragon Inn, Bywater, at 11 a.m. sharp. Trusting that you will be punctual, we have the honour to remain yours deeply, Thorin and Company.
That leaves you just 10 minutes. You will have to run, said Gandalf.
But, said Bilbo.
No time for it, said the wizard.
But, said Bilbo again.
No time for that either. Off you go.
Pushing his keys into Gandalf's hands, and running as fast as his furry feet could carry him down the lane, past the great mill, across the water. Bilbo was very puffed when he got to Bywater, just on the stroke of 11. "Bravo!" said Balin, looking at him. Just then all the others came round the corner of the road from the village. They were on ponies, and each pony was slung about with all kinds of baggages, packages, parcels, and paraphernalia. There was a very small pony, apparently for Bilbo. "Up you get, and off we go," said Thorin. "I'm awfully sorry," said Bilbo, "but I have come without my hat, and I have left my pocket-handkerchief behind, and I haven't got any money." "Don't worry," said Dwalin. "You will have to manage without pocket-handkerchiefs and a good many other things before you get to the journey's end." So, on a fine May morning, they jogged off from the inn on laden ponies, Bilbo wearing a dark green hood and a dark green cloak borrowed from Dwalin. They had not been riding very long when up came Gandalf, very splendid on a white horse. He had brought a lot of pocket-handkerchiefs and Bilbo's pipe and tobacco. At first, they passed through the green fields of the Hobbit lands. Then they came into the Lone Lands, where there were no people left, no inns, and the roads grew steadily worse. Not far ahead were dreary hills, rising higher and higher, dark with trees. Everything seemed gloomy and dull. "To think it will soon be June," grumbled Bilbo as he splashed along behind the others in a very muddy track. It was after tea time, he was soaked, his hood was dripping into his eyes, his cloak was full of water, the pony was tired, and the others were too grumpy to talk. "I'm sure the rain has got into the dry clothes and into the food bags," thought Bilbo. "Bother burgling and everything to do with it. I wish I was at home in my nice hole by the fire with the kettle just beginning to sing." It was not the last time that he wished that. It began to get dark as they went into a deep valley with a river at the bottom. At last they stopped. Thorin muttered something about supper and finding a dry patch to sleep on. Not until then did they notice that Gandalf was missing. "Just when a wizard would have been most useful too," groaned